And we can smile and get all ready. And I think everybody's able to see us now. And we're going to go live on the Podbeans. I'm going to start that and play a little music.
Cool.
So very excited. I'm trying something new, everybody. So those of you who are watching us on Facebook or listening to us in the Authentic and Wholehearted Joy group, I just want you to know that I am excited to be interviewing a terrific woman and coaching cohort, Lauren Bell, on the topic of authentic and wholehearted joy. Lauren teaches caring professionals from around the world how to step up, stand out, and be valued at the highest level in their field. So I'm going to turn off the music and woo! Welcome, Lauren. How are you?
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was great. I love that.
I know, it was fun, right? I got to play with some different features. I'm actually preparing for, I've been asked to host my own radio show. And so they're getting the channel ready. It's going to be launching in January. And I figured while we were here, I would play with a few little sound effects. So we'll see what happens.
Sounds great. Well, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I don't know if it'll, persevere as far as income concerning, but they love my topics. Talking about the coexistence of joy and pain, life and death. But today we're here just to talk about authentic and wholehearted joy and what that means to you. I would love it if you want to just tell, actually, I wanted to read a little bit more of your introduction to people here. So after 30 plus years as a registered nurse, Lauren, and over 15 years as a holistic therapist, Lauren is pursuing her passion as an inner game specialist, success and money coach, thought leader, consultant, and speaker through her coaching business. Lauren teaches caring professionals from around the world how to step up and stand out. And we talked about that already. So she delivers high impact transformation that clears the inner blocks that stop you from receiving the wealth and success that is rightfully yours, revealing the on fire enthusiasm and charisma that is the key to skyrocketing your health, love, and wealth. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. So Lauren, I would love to know, when you hear the word joy, what does that evoke in you?
To me, joy is in here, but it's natural. It's our birthright, and we all have.
Sorry, just for the people who are listening, in here was that Lauren put her hands over her heart. So I have to remember myself also that we have not just viewers, but listeners. So for you, joy is in here, the heart. Is that, I'll get you back on track. So there we go. Yeah.
So that's great. Thank you. Yeah, so it's in my heart, but it's that place of, but not just in my heart of physical heart. It's my centered heart, my, that feeling of love and light and openness and happiness. And it's not something that you chase after, but it's actually always there. And so it's more about revealing what is inside. And so, and the more that I've been able to let go of, limiting beliefs and things like that, move more into that place of sort of self-acceptance and self-love, then that joy just comes and you can tune into it at any moment.
Yeah, I love that. And do you find that, well, actually, I'll go backwards a little bit. Growing up, do you feel like that was something you knew or felt?
No.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I think it's the typical thing, isn't it? We teach that which we most need to know ourselves. So I didn't feel that way. I felt really, I've always been very sensitive, and now I sort of recognize myself as being a highly sensitive person.
Me too.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the people I work with, and I love them, because they're so giving, so caring. But one of the things I did do was really start being so over responsible for everybody else, and I neglected myself in the process. But not only was it about neglecting myself in the process, it was that I just didn't feel good enough. So I was always striving, to do and to prove and to please and to avoid conflict and all of those things. So no, I didn't feel it because I didn't feel like, because I didn't have it for myself. I think I was just blocked in so many ways of being able to receive it. So even if it was probably there, I wasn't aware of it.
Mm-hmm. So how do you know today what joy feels like? How did you get there?
Through my own journey and through, I mean, I guess really in so many ways, I've always been a seeker, and I've always been a person that's asked, why am I here? What's the purpose of this life? Why? My maiden name was Smith. So why am I Lauren Smith out of all the names in the world?
Yeah.
Pondering these questions. And so I guess I've always loved wellness and well-being and wanting to be the best that you can be. So I love that idea. That's why I moved into coaching, was, that bringing the potential out in all of us, really. And so I've always loved to pursue that myself. And so as I've gone through it and different spiritual learnings and teachings, and just I'm always curious and chasing after different things, I guess, in so many ways. But it's led me to the place of knowing that, I really need to love myself, accept myself. And in my work, my program, and why I say I'm a money mindset coach and those things, because I think it all starts in our mindset, in our thinking about, who we are and not so much who we are, but what are we thinking? And it does come back to that self-acceptance first. And then when you get the self-acceptance, then you can move more into that really active place of self-love, which is doing all the things like the kindness, the compassion, forgiveness if you need it. Like on one level, I don't think we need to be forgiven for anything, but as part of the journey, we do have to forgive ourselves and release regrets and different things like that. But in a way, they're sort of the ego mind thinking,
Right.
which is not really true for me anymore. But I still get caught up in it, of course. But I'm so much more aware that what we think about and how we think about ourselves is such a reflection of how we're going to act in the world and be in the world, but also how we can receive that back from others in the world.
Mm. So it sounds to me like growing up, that knowledge that joy could exist, or that internal joy, it was limited. And then as you've gone on your journey, you've discovered and created joy for yourself.
Yeah, it feels more like peeling back the layers and revealing the joy that was always there.
That was always there, right?
Yeah. And I guess as a kid, I would have had moments definitely where I was, when you're caught up in the moment of some sort of play, or, just enjoying digging in the dirt, or, something that just captures your mind and your imagination. I've always loved flowers, and I wouldn't say I've always been a creative person. Now I recognize it more. So yeah, I definitely had these judgments of what I wasn't, what I couldn't do. But as I've moved more into this place of acceptance, I can see that it actually is true. We are all of these things. And the more you allow them, the more it's like the gifts just show up and come out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. So what would you say, if there is anything to say, about the difference between joy and happy, being joyful or being happy?
Yeah, I do use them a little bit interchangeably, but from what I've more read, I think, is that a lot of people pin happiness on, I'll be happy when I do, or when I get, or, some external thing that's outside them that is sort of going to be, a bit like success, or, I'll be successful when, all of these things that means that we're not believing it on the inside. Whereas, so that's to me the difference. Like happiness can be mistaken for people really think that if we go after something and get it, but the truth is it's a bit like the donkey with the carrot hanging on the, in front of it. It's you need
Yes.
to get there, because you do get success. We do have things that we go, oh, okay, I've achieved that. And then part of my work too is helping people to really celebrate every step of progress, because a lot of
Yes.
the time we get there and then we're just like, okay, next, we don't even give it any acknowledgement. We don't even celebrate what we've done. And we're always raising the bar. So we look back and think, oh no, I haven't done much at all, but we forget where we've come from. So this idea of, celebrate everything, I think is really important. And yeah, just knowing that happiness and those things that we're chasing after they're external constructs in a way that it's not really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting because I believe, I don't know if it was the last interview that I did or the one before that, we talked very much about the internal versus the external, the journey versus the destination. And I was watching a video. I was teaching a class this last month to my community of lesbian, bisexual, queer, and trans women. And this video was about these two kids in the back seat, these two brothers, and they're off in the car with their family to Disneyland. And one little boy is watching out the window, just mesmerized by all the different animals and the nature and just really excited. And the other boy's like, are we there yet? When are we going to get there? And then the car breaks down and they don't get there. And the boy that was, are we going to get there, was really upset. Like, oh, it's ruined. Our life is ruined. And the boy that was watching was disappointed and upset, but he was still enjoying the sights and kind of curious about. So I wonder what you think about the fact that curiosity of the journey is tied to joy.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think so. And I love that. And it's sort of more like it's sort of that representation of just being present in the moment, isn't it? And seeing what's here right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do agree, because yeah, once again, that idea of a destination, it's sort of beyond you, whereas we are right here, right now. And when we tune into right here, right now, that's where we can feel joy and peace and, success and happiness and all of those other things too. And I know for myself, with this business that I just love, I'm passionate about, I had, and even throughout my whole life, I've had these ideas that this is going to happen. But really, things happen, life happens, things change, and really you don't know that it's going to happen. So yeah, I've got an idea of where I want to go, but really I'm much more happy to be present now and just enjoy the journey, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
yeah.
Were you going to say something else? I saw you just about.
No, just that's that saying, isn't it? Like the reward. I can't remember the saying now, but I've got a girlfriend gave me that bracelet, and I know I used to really ponder it. That sort of, yeah, it's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, and I'm curious. So our journey is really about a coexistence of a lot of things, right? So in your business and in your life, just like in my business and my life, we have trials and tribulations, and we have joys, and we have, joy and excitement and adventure that feels really good. So how do you, in a given moment, when you're faced with adversity or a challenge, how do you allow those two to live simultaneously,
Yeah,
or are you challenged by them? How do you embrace, honor the pain, and also embrace, honor the joy?
I've moved into a place where all of our emotions are about this human. This is what life's all about. It's to experience all of these emotions. So yes, they do exist simultaneously, and even something as difficult as grief, we can't stay in grief all the time. It's an in and an out and an in and an out. And so just knowing that, I think for me, it's more like I know the joy is in there just all the time. So it is, you can tune into it. And the same with love, and the same with, the different ways we refer to these inner states, which is sort of for me the peace and those quiet sort of states. But the emotions, yeah, absolutely. I go through all the roller coasters, and I just recently had a human design reading. So I don't, have you
No,
had?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So it just came through my radar through Instagram or something. Anyway, I had a a human design reading, and it was so confirming because apparently I'm an emotional generator. Now, apparently no, not everyone, a lot of people are generators, and I won't go into it because I don't understand it, but
That's okay.
I understood it, but not enough to share it.
Right. That's not your field.
No. The emotional part, though, was for me that apparently it's really important for me to experience all of the emotions. And I actually have some exciting news that I've just found out that I'm going to be a co-author in a book and a handbook on anxiety. And I'm writing the chapter on coaching. And anyway, it's really exciting.
That's exciting. That's very exciting. Wait, hold on a second. I think the audience has something to say to that.
So I went through, this is exciting. I spoke to the publisher. I'm like, yeah. And I spoke to the main organizer of the book and the project. And I'm like, yeah, this sounds great. I think I'm really excited. And I could feel the overwhelm just creeping up really quite quickly. But yeah, rang my mom, told her I was really excited, all of this stuff. And then bang, the overwhelm hit, the anxiety, I can't do this. There's no way. How can I fit this in? It's got a fairly short time frame before the manuscript's due. All of those things. And so then I was just like, okay, I'm just going to sit with this. And so I did. And I allowed all the emotions to come. And then the next day was a bit more possibility, and sort of explored that a little bit further. And then again, a little bit more possible. And is it good for me though? Is it good for me? Is it sitting in my alignment? Is it good for my audience, my people that I work with? Is it all, basically in alignment? Am I going to do this service as well? And yeah, I got to this sort of more neutral place. So that's what I found out was when I've got a big decision to make, allow all of the emotions and then come back to a place where it feels neutral, and you can, like, I am excited about it, but not the waves and full seesawing of emotion that I had.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of the biggest things that I work with my clients is not to deny or reject the feelings that come in, negative or positive. And it's really hard. It's taken me a long time to be willing to receive positivity and compliments and praise from other people. I'm happy to shower you with praise and compliment you and be your biggest cheerleader. But when people do that for me, it's been really hard to learn to receive that. And so it creates this dichotomy and this coexistence of, I really like this and I really don't, and so I try to have my clients really embrace the pain and really embrace the joy. And it can be pretty intense, but I think that the more we reject or deny their existence, the worse it can be, the harder it can be.
Definitely. And that's when it will come up to bite you, basically, because it's like push it down, push it down, push it down, and then bang, erupt like a volcano or whatever else.
Exactly. I think it has everything to do with creating balance in our lives, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to think back, I know that you had some memories of childhood, but I guess 10 years earlier from now to birth. So not these last 10 years. So I'm not going to mention anybody, and you're not going to tell anybody how old you are, but the 10 years don't count right now. The 10 years before and everything else before that. Do you have one memory that totally just reminded you? I mean, you just felt so much joy. You can take as much time as you need to think. I don't have the music on the computer that goes do 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 do.
That thinking music.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm in a new partnership, new relationship. Well, it seems new still. We're 12 years in now. So
there you go.
Yeah. So just that, new love. And I do think for me, it was probably really the first time I really allowed love in as well, and felt seen and, accepted for who I was. I didn't have to sort of be anything different in that relationship. So that was probably when I really started to come into and feel more empowered to be me and to, step into my authority of who I am, and my message is important, just like everybody else. We all have our gifts. We all have things to share. And
Yeah.
what I love, I think it is about stepping up and standing out. But it's not saying that I'm any better than anyone else. We all have something. We're all meant to be here. We're all part of this tapestry of life, and we all make a difference.
That is so beautiful and so true. Yeah, well, I'm really glad that you have a love in your life. I have a new love in my life as well, and I'm very excited to be on this journey with her. And yeah, life is very different right now. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
lovely. It is
yeah.
lovely.
And so in the last 10 years, more recently, even in the last year, what has brought you the most joy?
Well, I think I went through a burnout story, really, but it was the coming through it and the learning that I've got from it. That's what's put me into this place. Like, feels like now everything I've done throughout my whole life, has existed to bring me to right here, right now. And it's exciting what I see ahead for myself and for the people and the transformation that I create, and how I help. And I want more and more of that, but without going through that pain and that heartbreak and the shame that I felt. It was I call it my rock bottom, really, because it was the thing then that I started to be able to climb out of, and then start to look at it and see, oh, okay, and I realized that I had a choice, that I was making the wrong choices, that, I was putting everybody else's needs ahead of mine and not honoring who I was. I was caught up in a job that I didn't love. In fact, really, I was so unhappy, but I was so caught up in that grind of, I've got a mortgage, I need to make the payments, all of this stuff. But there were so many things of why I wasn't enjoying it. And I was so unhappy. And everyone in my life was suffering as a consequence, because, I wasn't coping. And I have these really high ideals about what I want to do and how I want to make a difference. And that wasn't happening at work. So I was becoming more and more demotivated and
Yeah.
all of that. But because of that, the come out and what I've come through to, and now what I know about myself and what I've learned, sort of the keys that I took on in my life as sort of principles, which I now teach, was just that, really becoming honest. Well, who am I? What do I want? What makes me happy? What does bring me joy? And so that was the turning into, no, I'm not happy doing that. I was still just working just really in nursing, and I'd really played down the holistic health side of my work and business. And so that I ended up leaving that work, going back, finishing my postgraduate in counselling, and then moving into coaching. And that was the bit that, as I said, everything seemed to happen to bring me to this point now, where I'm really helping other heart-centered, caring professional people who have that problem too, of giving everyone everything else but not themselves. So
That's beautiful. I think that what's interesting is I when I was teaching in high school, I would have many students, teens, come up to me, unfortunately more than any of us want, with suicidal ideation, feeling very sad and feeling very uncomfortable. And when we could sit and talk about, the idea of this permanent solution for a temporary problem, if we can all remember, that pain is temporary and joy is temporary, like everything's temporary. We're going to pass through whatever it is, right? And so the motivation for all of us is to know that when we are really struggling, when we are really feeling that pain, that it will end. As a sexual abuse victim, there were times where I didn't know when it was going to end. When I was pregnant with my first child, I was terrified of the pain that was going to come with birthing my first baby. But when I had this light switch went on, I had been stuck and at 6 centimeters, and I'd been stuck for hours. This light switch came on of, oh my gosh, when the pain's going to end. You totally know when the pain's going to end. and I had my baby in 2 hours. And it was like the most amazing light switch. And I think that many of us don't know exactly when the pain is going to end, but if we can remind ourselves that it will end and we don't have to make a permanent decision to get there, it's just such a gift, such a gift. And I know that with the students that I worked with and with the clients that I work with, when we can see that there can be this kind of like, it's almost like an infinity circle, where it's just ongoing, and the more we are able to cultivate and create that self-love and self-acceptance, like you talked about, the more we will feel joy as opposed to the pain. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Somebody asked in the comments, I want to get back to that, how you celebrate joy and how do you celebrate the accomplishments and joy that you've talked about in the beginning?
Well, I really encourage my people, and so I try, do it myself too, like to be really, like this, whatever way for you, but to really embody it. So here I am shaking my arms in the air and, doing the happy dance and, yell. So it's about sort of making that physical as well. But for me, then it's also balancing too with self-care, some sort of self-care. And I can be a busy person. So really making sure that I do take time out and have that sort of more inner reflection time, that inner quiet. So there's that. But then I also love to celebrate with, nice meals and family time or dinners out with, my partner and that sort of thing. So yeah, a combination of things really. But first and foremost is that when it's done, like to really just acknowledge it and to make a point of saying, yes, I've done it. Good on you,
Yeah. And I do the same thing. In fact, I have two different parts of my business. And so, like I said, I work with lesbian, bisexual, queer, trans women, and I also work with students anywhere from middle school through graduate school. And then the classes that I teach, it's all about really being very clear and very, what's the word that I want to use? Oh, shoot. I can't think of it, but just, it's at the tip of my tongue. Anyways, very, very like, darn it, the word is there and it's not coming out. Anyways, deliberate. That's the word. To be very deliberate about celebrating visibly out loud. So for example, and this might shock you a little bit, but we go, yay, me, we hug ourselves and go, yes, I did it. And even if it's just getting up in the morning or making your bed or calling someone that you didn't want to call, but to really be deliberate and loud, because you can always tone it down, but to truly celebrate whatever the accomplishments are. And I wouldn't say even the words big or small, because it's different for everyone. So yeah, thank you for that.
Great. I love that. I'm going to take that on. So
totally. Yeah. Yay me. And then yay you. We put our hands out to each other. So we just have a few minutes. I know that, one of the things that I like to offer my guests, because you all come here for free to do an interview for this group, is to tell us a little bit more about your business. And I know you have a free gift to offer anybody who's listening or watching. And then we'll put the link in the comments and also in the podcast chat for anybody who's interested. So the floor is yours, Lauren.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. This has been lovely. How quickly the time has gone.
I know, it was fast.
So I love working with caring, heart-centered professionals. Well, really anybody, and particularly women, but because we tend to be, holding the space for everyone else, doing everything for everyone else, and being everyone's go-to person sort of thing. But we forget ourselves in the process. And a bit like you were saying before, you're great at giving to everybody else, but you have trouble that receiving sometimes. And that is so common. And some of the work I do in my coaching program, so I work with groups and one-to-one, and I also teach and love facilitating workshops. But it's like we have to give 100 pieces of giving before we'll allow one tiny piece of receiving in. So for me, it's about making that equal, because if we give to ourselves and allow it in, then we can go out in service and do the things that we love, and we get fulfilled by doing that. my program is called It Starts With Me. It's the idea is that we do the inner work first. That's why it's all about the mindset. And I actually use wealth as a way in, because our wealth and the way we feel about money is a real reflection on the value that we give for ourselves. So, you know, how much self-worth, how much deserving, how much receiving can I get? And so when we change that, you know, we can open it up. And so one of the things that I do love doing, and I wanted to say it before when you were talking about celebrating, is like really noticing when things do start coming in for you. And then I've got this saying, and all the family and the kids laugh. It's like, yes, please, more, please, thank you. And it's, yeah.
I love it. I do. I like that. Yes, please, more, please, thank you. Okay, I can do that.
And it can be, you know, the most simple thing, like someone, you want something, like at work, I wanted a piece of tape, and then I looked and there it was on the bench. I'm like, yes, please, well, please, thank you. You know, like everything's showing up, that synchronicity. And that's what my work is all about too. It's opening to the opportunities that actually are there, but we don't see them because we're in a place of stress and, you know, often overwhelm. Our nervous systems are on fire. We're already in flight and fight. And so once we can calm that down, move to this place of acceptance and things like that, then we can start to receive more love, more wealth, and more joy in our life. And yeah, I have a series of masterclasses coming up, and that's exactly what it's called, is how overgiving robs you of the wealth and love you deserve. And so if anyone would love to come, they're free. They're 90-minute masterclass where I'll be teaching how to create some boundaries, how to reduce the stress and the pressure of being everybody's go-to person. And we also do a really cool deserving exercise in it where people tune in to actually, well, how much do I feel like I deserve, and how much am I valuing myself? And it can be quite revealing. And I use EFT. It's a tapping modality. Love it. And
So for those who don't know, EFT is emotional freedom tapping, right? Or no, emotional freedom technique.
Yeah, that's right. Or tapping, you know, if you look it up on Google, you'll just find loads and loads of information. And it's evidence-based, and it's, you know, it's fantastic. So anyway, I use that in my masterclasses as well. And people have these shifts and they can't believe it. And even the other day, someone reported back to me, we had a masterclass a few weeks ago, and he said, you know, I was going for a job interview and I was, you know, imagining myself there. And so he did the process. Anyway, he had the interview and they offered him the job, and they tried to negotiate down the money, and he just stood firm and said, no, this is what, you know, my value, this is what it is. And he said normally he would have backed down, but he didn't. And they gave him the job and the money, and he was ringing out. I'm so
How exciting. Yeah.
And this was just a 5-minute thing we did in the masterclass. So yeah, if anyone would love to come, it's on Eventbrite, but I can share the link into your page, or you can share the link.
Yeah, if you want to just, you can actually, if you just chat, you can send it to me through email or through Facebook Messenger, and then I can put it in the actual description of our live. Once it's over, I'll type it in so people can see it when they read the description.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, but you can also say that, so it's on Eventbrite. And what's the title of it again?
How overgiving robs you of the wealth and love you deserve.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. I'm glad that we got to talk about joy, got to talk about what your life has been like around joy, and even the coexistence of life and death and joy and pain. So for everyone, this has been Lauren Bell. And again, Lauren teaches caring professionals from around the world how to step up, stand out, and be valued at the highest level in their field. And I'm Misha Safran, the founder of this group, Authentic and Wholehearted Joy, as well as the podcast, Passing Joy Around the World. And we each have opportunities for all of you to heal, to learn, and to discover the joy within you, and to embrace the happiness that comes from the external. And with that, I'm going to end the show on the podcast. Oh, thank you, everybody. No need to applause. Thank you. Thank you. We'll just end there. And then also stop the live stream on the Facebook. But yeah, thank you very, very much, Lauren.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you.